Video, I'm going to explain 16 dimensions. So the first dimension is nothing. It's kind of like the fourth dimension, okay? The first dimension doesn't truly exist, but when another dimension joins the first dimension, they become a line on a paper. And so basically it'd be like observing something on a line on a paper. That's what the second dimension is. The third dimension is when another line comes in and then you get like a circle or like a actual object. So the third dimension creates all the three directions. Then the fourth dimension comes in and adds a new space. And basically when the fourth dimension comes in, the new line that's added makes all of that nothing and non-existent. And so that way it can help the third dimension exist within it. So the fourth dimension is air and water, but without gravity, because gravity is the fifth dimension. So when you add another dimension into that, you add a new plane of existence that basically makes all of the dimensions below it compatible to that dimension. So the fifth dimension is gravity. And basically air destroys gravity and breaks it down, and then it goes into water, and water pressurizes it down. And then what we know about Earth is that Earth is actually in the fermentation, so we're on top of the bubble. So up here it's getting broken down, and then it gets to the water, and the water pressurizes it. And then when it breaks through the pressure, it goes through a vault, which this vault, since it's Earth, is kind of like a vault of space. And so then it breaks through space and becomes air again and restarts the process on flat Earth. And then the flat Earth water is even more pressurized. Then we get a new dimension coming into the fifth dimension, and this basically makes the fifth dimension, or gravity, its bitch, okay? So Earth makes gravity its bitch, just like space does. But space has so many different dimensions to it. Space expands onto its dimensions. So let's explain what the sixth dimension is. The sixth dimension is basically just space with gravity part of it. Like space and gravity have become one thing in a context of a bunch of different things. So the main thing is that Earth would be inside this little like cave down thing, because Earth is heavy, and so Earth in space is a different type of heaviness. It's a different type of gravity. So gravity is expanding in the sixth dimension. The sixth dimension controls gravity and makes it different. Then a new dimension gets added, and then we get the seventh dimension. And the seventh dimension is basically like time. So the seventh dimension flows through everything, and so do these dimensions above it. Some of them will flow through everything. So time flows through everything individually. So this soda can has its own time. It might, like, get crunched down and become nothing and become a new thing, and that's just part of its time. Or I might drink the water, and the water will have a time where it goes through my body, through everything, and then I pee it out, right? And that's the time of that soda or water or whatever it is, right? And so the seventh dimension affects everything, whereas I will have my own time besides that thing, and my phone will have its own time, and these walls in this house will have its own time. Then a new dimension gets added, and that's the eighth dimension. And so what we understand about the eighth dimension, it has to move faster than time. So anything that moves faster than time exists within the eighth dimension. So that means time moves through the eighth dimension. What else moves through the eighth dimension is things that are moving faster than time. So that's how you would time travel, is moving faster than time. Not faster than light, because light is the ninth dimension. So when we add a new dimension, we're going to physically see anything that is in the eighth dimension. So when two things in the eighth dimension collide, they create the ninth dimension, which is a way for you to see the eighth dimension. That's what the ninth dimension is seeing the eighth dimension. So technically the ninth dimension is the Milky Way. But since you're looking at the Milky Way, you're a 10th dimensional being looking at the Milky Way. So you're able to see the Milky Way, which would mean that you're seeing the ninth dimension. So that would be like you being the 10th dimension if you see the Milky Way. Now we get to the next dimension. This dimension gets added into it, and basically what happens is a new form of gravity, space, time, light, everything gets created. So it's like a new universe next to our universe that's being created. It's not a true new universe. It's just like a place for things to, it's like what holds galaxies. So a galaxy is being held up by a new form of gravity. So instead of a sideways gravity being like Earth, how Earth is concave down and is held up sideways or whatever, a galaxy's gravity has got to be like all sides just forming and being with space and stuff. So that's what the 10th dimension is. And so then the 11th dimension would be like a way to move into that galaxy. So it's a way to move from this space of everything being around it to moving into this space, which is within the galaxy. So the 11th dimension moves you through galaxies and helps you get inside of them so you can go into this space. So that's what the 11th dimension is moving from one type of space to another, or moving from the 10th dimension to the 6th dimension. Then we get to the 12th dimension. And so what the 12th dimension is basically how clusters of galaxies would interact with each other. So you got all this going on, right? And then from the bigger picture, this is one galaxy. If we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like hundreds of galaxies or whatever, like 15 of them, then they're going to have a 12th dimension around them, holding them in and making sure that when this is happening around them, they're also moving around each other and moving through the universe, okay? This would also kind of make the galaxies create their own 13th dimension so that they can move from each other to each other. So let's say you're inside of this galaxy. Instead of using the 11th dimension and going into the 12th or the 10th dimension of space, you move through the 12th, which is connecting all the galaxies. So instead of moving into the 10th and being with our understanding of space, you would move into, from their 6D gravity, you'd move through the 12th dimension into a new galaxy. So that's what the 13th dimension is moving from galaxy to galaxy without going into space or leaving your galaxy. You're just going from galaxy to galaxy. So you're using the 13th dimension to do that. Now the 14th dimension is the void. Okay, everybody who astral projects knows what the void is. Now the void is basically outside of our universe, okay? Or outside of our understanding. So every time we time travel, we destroy one of those galaxies that I was talking about, and we take the time from that galaxy and make it our new time that you're time traveling to, and then you shoot the galaxy back in and the galaxy restarts, okay? So the 14th dimension as the void basically means that when you move far enough away, space meets a vault, like how our Earth has a vault between the fermentation and flat Earth. So the vault would make the difference between space of the 12th dimension or 10th dimension, and it would make another vault. So the 10th dimension, then the 12th dimension, then the 14th, which is the vault. So the 6th dimension is regular space, which is inside the galaxy. Then the 10th dimension, which is our understanding of space. And then we have the 12th dimension, which is holding in all the clusters of galaxies and keeping them whole. And then the 14th dimension moves past that. It doesn't hold anything. It pushes everything inside of it. So it's like a circle around us, and it's pushing everything inside of it and making it stay there. And it also expands. And so when the inside, the main part, which is 15, the 15th dimension, which got added, it expands the 14th. So the 14th is outside of it, and the 15th dimension is expanding it and making the 14th move further out, which every time the 14th dimension of the void moves outward, everything inside of it has to be created and come through. So outside of the 14th is also the 15th. So everything that's being created is also pushing out the 15th, but not really, because the 15th is like the source of everything. And then we get to the 16th dimension, and the 16th dimension is basically the Lord of the Worlds, okay? It's Allah, right? And so it's his body, right? Because God is the 24th, and I'd get to that, but like, I'd have to explain a lot more in this video. So then we get to the 16th dimension, and this is basically everything looking over the 15th, and it's like watching it, kind of like how the 9th dimension does, except anything that's being created by the 15th is actually being thought of by the 16th. But what's really happening is that the 15th is being created by time travelers. So every time they time travel and destroy that universe or that galaxy, right? Every time they destroy the galaxy, they create a new planets that were from that galaxy, and they join our solar system. And so we're slowly spreading out now and pushing the void outwards. And so then the 16th dimension is basically everything that void will ever hold or become. Right? It's everything that's ever existed and ever will exist, right? And then the 17th dimension is like the Quran, or everything like Revelations. It's the end. It's everything that will ever exist, ever. Anything to ever truly exist at all. It's like the written word of God. In the next video, I'll explain where the Sumerian gods came from and their planets. Because if you understand what I meant by the 12th dimension, holding galaxies and stuff, then you'll understand their planet just a little bit. And then I'll explain a new Earth that God's trying to create, which is going to be like a heaven for us and where we can go, like paradise kind of. What God created for paradise. And it'll all exist within the 15, 16 dimensions that I just explained. And when these Earths get created, it's going to create the 24 dimensions like I was talking about God, because there's going to be a vault that happens, and it's going to separate the two dimensions of these two planets that are actually going to make more stuff. So the planet that Sumerian gods are on, God is going to create a heaven for them, and he's going to create an earth heaven for us. So they're going to get a fermented heaven like what we live on, and then he's going to get an earth heaven for us in heaven like how they have right now with us. So it's basically like we're going to switch places, but we're going to be like huge and like dimensionally, like the way we're going to observe everything is going to be crazy, dude, because we're going to be looking into the void. That's literally going to be like our air or whatever. Like we're going to be breathing the void. And then we're going to be able to see space, the 16th dimension. We're going to see God, and we're basically going to see everywhere that we were. Like we're just going to see, it's going to be so beautiful.